Hello, Bridgewell team. In the next video here, we are going to cover how to update the information on these, what we're calling the product and services pages. So not the category pages, but anything that comes underneath them. So not this Bridgewell Mats page with all of the cards, but any of the individual service product pages that come underneath that. So you can see here that once we're logged in, we get a little menu up at the top. You can either click on this Edit Post, or on the dashboard back here, you can come back to Services and that first item here, and then you can find the item here in the list. They can each be useful in their own way. You know, this view is very handy for if you're going to be making edits to a lot of pages. If you're going to be making edits to something specific and you're able to find it on the front end, then obviously this is a very easy way to go. In any case, we'll go ahead and we'll open that. I prefer myself to have both the back end view and the front end view of the page open at the same time so I can click back and forth. It makes it easy to see what's happening on the front after you commit your edits. As I demonstrated with the dashboard page, there are some customizations that you can make here to the view, just in terms of what shows up where and when, and you can collapse these things. So this triangle over on the right hand side means that you can collapse this. It's just handy to know because sometimes if you accidentally close something like this, you're going to be like, wait, where are my options for the pictures and the excerpt and the phone numbers and all of that. So you can collapse these sections, which can make the page easier to view at certain points, especially if you don't use the geo-targeting or the Yoast or whatever else. You can make the page a little simpler to look at this way. You can also move them around, so you can drag and drop these items, but also this other set of arrows will push it down the page or up the page, depending. And in this case, you can see one of them disappeared because it was at the top of the list, and I clicked up, which means it went over here into this side banner. So any of these items can be dragged around wherever you want them to be for your particular view. I think it makes sense to try to keep these things as closely aligned with where they appear on the page as possible. So you can see here that yeah, any of these things can just be opened or closed as needed. So in this case, the service options, these fields, before you make any changes, you'll just want to make sure you understand what they correspond to. So this service SEO title corresponds to this, what we call an H1 headline on the front end. The words that appear here are important for how Google indexes the page and understands the content of the page. So it's best to just make sure that you're not doing anything drastic here. These are the words that we understand need to be shown in terms of showing up in a Google search. This service description is the text that appears right here under that headline. The service gallery you load here, and then you can make that appear wherever you want by putting in this short code for service gallery. So those images are loaded up here in this section. You can drag and drop them to change the order of it. You can add more items to the gallery. You can remove those items from the gallery. Anything that you want here, if you want to change where that appears, here's the service gallery, and that item can be dragged anywhere in the list to change where it shows up on the front end. Moving down the page here, there are a series of phone number fields and email fields. It probably, I don't know, I will make a separate video on how these phone number and email address fields work. Probably in most cases, it's going to be best to let a single person handle the updating of all of these. There are some dependencies on how these things work. So the Northeast email and the Northeast phone number, those only show up if somebody is identified as being located in those areas. The call rail phone number, this doesn't actually appear that way on the page. As you can see, it gets replaced with a phone number from the call rail pool. So I don't want anybody to misunderstand and think this is what's supposed to appear on the page. If you don't, if your division uses the call rail system and you don't know how this system works, please do not make updates to this phone number. The international phone number is pretty straightforward. It is what appears on the page. But again, if somebody is detected as coming from the Northeast, the international phone number is not going to appear on the page. Gravity Form ID, that is how the form gets pulled in for the bottom here. I don't think anybody is going to need to edit that. If somebody wants to understand this, let me know and I can make a video about it. This next section here is for everything on the page that comes after this phone number and email area. So this headline, this text, headline, this bulleted text, as I kind of already showed you, this gallery here, everything here in between this blue bar call to action and the form down here at the bottom. How this works is pretty straightforward. There are just block segments for each item. Again, that makes it so that you can drag these items up and down in the list and rearrange the content. You can see as you hover over each of these little individual blocks, there are different options available. This first one is, as I was showing you, what allows you to drag it. You can see if you hover over it, it gives you some instruction. This next one is to edit that particular item. The next one is to duplicate it. And then the X over here on the right is to delete it. So if we wanted to edit this, we would just click on the little pencil icon here. We get a pop-up window. Here is the text for that. That's really probably all that you would need to do is to just change it, and you would just type right in there what you would want it to say. Again, these do have SEO tagging associated with it. So you'll just want to make sure you understand what the keywords are for your particular service or product. What are most commonly searched by your customers, so that you're not removing searchability from the page by updating that in a bad way. The text items work pretty much the same way. Click on the pencil. For the text options, you do get basic formatting options here. So you can enter returns where you can't with the headlines. You can highlight text and make it bold or italic, etc., whatever it is you might want to do. There are options for changing the color. We don't recommend changing the color of the text. If you don't click Save Changes, it will basically not commit those changes. So you can see I've made some bold and some italics here, but if I close out of it, it's not going to commit those edits. If you want to link to something, you can type some text, highlight it, come right up here to the link icon. It's best to come right over here to link options. And then if you're linking to a page on your own website, you can find that page right here in the list. The search function also works really well. In this case, you guys don't really have a generic contact us page, but it could be the locations page in this instance. And it will write that link for you. If you're linking to an external site, I highly recommend going to that page and copying the text from that link. So just coming right in here, finding that, copying, and then when you come back to your page and you paste that in, you know for certain, especially when it's a long link like that random example I pulled up, you're not going to have to rekey that or type that and potentially make any mistakes. The other thing you want to make sure to do when you're linking to an external site is to check this open link in a new tab box, and that's going to make sure that when they click it and they navigate away from your site, that goes open in a new tab, and that when they're done with that external site and they close it, the Bridgewell site is still open behind there. You would just hit add link. You can see it's made that link, that text into a link now. We would just hit save changes. We'd hit update here. And then over on the front end, we can hit refresh. And we can see that we've got a contact us link. And it opens that link in a new tab so that when we close it, here's the Bridgewell site still there. Let's go ahead and immediately get rid of that. And same thing, we'll just hit save changes. Nothing happens on the front end until you hit this update button over here. So we hit that, refresh it on the front end, and our contact us link is gone. We have your site set up to automatically push out the bulleted lists into columns like this. So you can see here, when you open this to edit it, this is set up as bullets. So anytime that you set it to format as a bulleted list, this is how it's going to do it. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, out across, then to the next column, then to the next row, then to the next row, to make sure that they all stay evenly dispersed. The style format that we have set for the bullet points is first letter is a cap, nothing else is capitalized unless it requires, like of course the name Bridgewell, or if there's an acronym, HPDE or whatever, any of those things would be capitalized, or if it's a proper item like, you know, Northwest or Douglas fir or something like that. Those are the only exceptions that we've made for that. Only a couple fields to go here. Down here at the bottom, or where I have it here at the bottom, is the excerpt field. And that is what it's going to pull for these feeds, both on the home page and on the division category page. So, you know, constructed with countersunk nuts and washers, etc. Yep, there and there. So this excerpt field is what controls that. There is a limit on how much it's going to show here. It's pretty much these 4 lines here, but obviously different numbers of characters can affect it differently. How much can fit in there, but this is the general amount of space. This laminated mats is coming close to how much content can fit in there. And then we have the service categories over here on the right hand side. You will not need to use this unless you're adding a new product or service. So if you're adding something new, this is how it knows where to display that, because we've got this under Bridgewell Mats. It then knows that it should show the card under the Mats headline here on the home page, and to show it also here on the Mats division page. And then last, we have the featured image. These are formatted to be a specific size, which here, when we look it up, is 600 wide by 250 tall. That's measured in pixels, in case anybody needs to update those. For any of these edits, we are also more than happy to make these edits for you. We just want to put as much in your hands as you are interested in managing. So yeah, if you did want to update that, you would just click remove here. Then you would click Set Featured Image, make sure that your new image is formatted to that right size, and then come to Upload and browse to where that is and put in the new one. That is it for these product and service pages. Yeah, again, you can collapse and expand these as needed. You can drag them to make the order a better order for you. If you want these items that are in the sidebar over here or vice versa, you can do all of that. But other than that, yeah, the pages work as described in the video. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.